This is Chuck, and I appreciate you stopping by my shop for a visit. I always appreciate that you lend me your time. So this video is going to be a this and that type of video. I'm a little confused because I put a lot of stuff up on Instagram and Facebook, so hopefully it's not a repeat. I'm just going to run through all the various things that have been going on in the shop here, and let's move right on into it. The first thing that I'm playing with here, sitting at the mill, is Solid Rock Machine, Steve Barton. I hope you guys follow Steve. If you're looking at me, you should be looking at Steve. He recently showed, and hopefully this will come up, but a chamfering tool that he's shown making it using an insert. And he was kind enough to share the drawing on how to do it, and I really like that, and I wanted to go after building it. So it's not done, but I thought I would just have a little discussion on where it is to date and a little issue Charlie ran into. You know, that guy Charlie that hangs around my shop. So Steve does most of his machining on his mill and uses it somewhat like a lathe. And so he showed using a 82-degree countersink to go ahead and start the 41-degree angle that he wanted on the part. And I looked at that and I said, oh, geez, I'll just take that and throw it in the lathe, and I'll do the same thing, but I'm going to do it in the lathe. Here's a photograph. Back from that, of course, it was slow go, but it started the angle, and I said, okay, now I'm just going to set the compound over on the lathe and cut the 41-degree angle. And you can see that. Here's another little video or a shot. Okay, back from that, and then the next thing you're going to see is me jiggling the part on the mill. And Charlie had a little issue here. A couple things that happened, and I'd like to share with you. Somebody learns from me. First off, let's see. Let me roll the camera here so you can see what I'm talking about. Bear with me for a second. So right there you can see, all right, where'd you go? There it is. Let me zoom down in there. Okay, right there you can see the chamfering tool. I've started working on it, but I had a little issue, and here's a little quick video. Back from that, and you can see that the part basically was wiggling, and in this setup, what happened is, one, the pallet that's in the vise, I didn't tighten it down. I'd snugged it, but I really didn't snug it worth a dang. That was one issue. The bigger issue that really I was blaming it on the vise, because what happened is the end mill caught and threw everything off of there. You can see the part was chewed up, and it was chewed up above center, so it didn't matter. But blew the can twist clamp off everything. And thinking about it, I was going like, what the hell happened here? I finally figured it out. I typically use 5C collets, and I opted to use an ER32 here. Well, a 5C collet, the nut that tightens on the 5C collet is, in diameter, is smaller than the square block. I wasn't paying attention. I haven't used ER32s that often, very, very little to be honest with you. So I used an ER32 collet. Well, the nut is bigger than the block. So when I actually had clamped it down with the back clamp here, I was clamping on an angle, just a very small piece. It was easy enough to slide. There wasn't on enough bearing. Hence, that's why it popped out. So pulled it out, reset everything back up again, and I've been cutting, and it's not an issue. So I'm waiting on the insert at this point, and I was fooling around putting, it's a square insert, it's the wrong size. This one is actually is a neutral. There's no, it's not a positive. Should be in a negative holder, and so I was tempted to cut this to use this tool, but I think I'm going to wait for the actual insert. So enough said on that little project. I'm having fun doing it, and you'll see a finished product when it's done. Let's move on to the next item here in the shop. Okay, let's go on to the next subject that's been going on in the shop. Grinding high-speed cutting tools for the lathe. I got to be honest with you. I've got so many high-speed tools from tooling shops that I've bought stuff out of. I've got drawers full of them. And over the years, when I've needed a high-speed tool that had a special grind, I just dig through what I had, maybe modify it. Typically not. It was pretty much ready to go. Actually, one of the first ones that I did, and only did, was Tom Lipton's chamfering tool, the three-sided chamfering tool. Did that some time ago. But recently, I wanted to sharpen some high-speed tooling. And I'm going to show you, see if this comes up. Right there, that's Laney Tool. He's Laney College is over in Oakland, here close to me. And Adam has part 1 and part 2 about grinding lathe tools. And I have to tell you, you need to, it's worth watching, especially if you're a beginner and you've never ground high-speed tools. And if you're going to do what I always did, I would walk over to the grinder. I would put the tool up against the grinder, and I'd try to grind, the 10 degree. It tells you all the different stuff you're supposed to do, and get frustrated and walk away. Well, Adam basically starts at square one, talking about the regular bench grinder and how you set up the bench grinder and to achieve the angles. He takes it all the way through step by step. It's got a little bit of theatrics. Remember, he's a college teacher, so he's going to the younger crowd. But the knowledge that you'll gain by watching it is extreme, and I just can't press. I'm going to try to leave you links or at least information in the description. So with that said, I've been playing around with it, and I'm happy with the grinds that I've got. I've been playing around with why I'm getting aluminum to stick on the end of the tool, and we'll end up probably doing another video on that as I get more educated. Now, here's a couple of fixtures for sharpening high-speed tools, and I've had this one for years. It says right-hand tool bit on it. It says position 1, position 2. It says top here, and over here it says top also. over the years, I've played with it, and see it's 15 degrees. And finally, after watching Adam's videos and playing with this on the grinder, I finally figured it out, how it works and what it does. So, interesting tool, and maybe I'll end up doing a video on this. Subsequent to that, my good friend Dave, Flea Market Dave, was over, and we were playing around with this, and I pulled this guy out. And I said, I picked this up someplace, and heck, it's a 45 degree. I don't know what it's for. And so we said, what the hell? Let's put a tool bit in it and see what we get. Sorry about that. I had to walk and get it. So what this fixture does is it grinds a diamond-shaped tool, which I have the tool holder for that. And I did video a long time ago about this guy. Flea Market actually had the fixture for sharpening these, the actual fixture for this. And subsequent to that, I haven't used this tool that much. I'm more of a carbide guy, to be honest with you. But anyway, it was quite interesting to see that this fixture creates the diamond-shaped tooling. So, always learning something in the shop. But with that said, make sure you you go and watch Adam's videos. I think they're worth your time, and I think you'll enjoy it also. All right, let's move on some more and see what else I got to show you in the shop here. Well, we got a little bit of a sideways view at a recent tooling cabinet that I purchased, and I just wanted to show you a couple of things about it. The bottom has a door opening, which was just a full depth opening, height and width. And it was, for an old guy like me, to get down there on my hands and knees and reach all the way back up in there, that's a no-no. So I opted to create some sliding drawers for it. I had some 100-pound slides that I'd gotten, and give you a quick show here. So that's just one big drawer, and then down below you can see the weight in there. 2 8-inch chucks, parallel, 4-jaw, works fantastic. And then on this other side, quite a bit of weight in there. Let's see if you can actually see that in the camera. Nope, you can't. Let's see if we can get over there. There you go. So those are 2 6-inch parallels, box parallels, and a big 8-inch box parallel. And quite a bit of weight in that drawer, and it works just fantastic. So you see, I can just push it on my foot. So the old man doesn't have to get down on his hands and knees to get into that cabinet. Otherwise, the drawers are great, and just storage of items. This drawer here, again, I don't know if you're in focus. I got to walk over here. I didn't turn the. This drawer here, when I purchased this cabinet, it was full of lathe tooling. This is kind of an example. At my meet and greet that I held recently, I had trays like this, and here's 7 pounds of 5/8 carbide. I was selling it for $7. Well, I had multiple trays like that, had 1-inch high-speed steel, on and on, totally filled, and I sold all that off. But I got more, you know, talking about, I went through all of the high-speed steel tooling and picked out items that I didn't have, and said, yeah, throw them in the drawer. Somebody's spent a lot of time grinding some of these tools, and they may have a use. I really searched out all these inside radius types also. But anyway, so really happy with the purchase of this tooling cabinet. Very, very nice addition to the shop. All right, got some more for you. We'll move on. I thought I'd mention, as I talked about that tooling cabinet, this was in the bottom of that cabinet, which created a floor. 3/8 piece of aluminum. So that was a nice add to take out of there, and the drawers work fine in covering it. We'll head out into the main shop. There's Howie. How you doing there, buddy? Let me turn on some lights. And what do we have next that I want to show you? Well, new addition to the shop. So I ended up, I've been wanting one of these single lip cutter grinders, a Deckel clone, and I picked this up the other day. The fella had bought it brand new and had barely used the machine, is what he explained to me. It's pretty clean. It came with, it's 5C, it takes 5C collets, and it came with metric collets. It's 110 volt, so I didn't have to run 220 over to it. And being that it's 5C, I didn't have any metric collets, so now I have a selection of metric collets. But the cool thing is I do have imperial collets, and I have the square and hex. So actually you'll see that there is actually a square collet in there right now, and I was playing around, teaching myself, cleaning up one of the tool bits that I sharpened for the lathe. So we'll be seeing this in future videos also. Let me move on. So recently, I can't remember if I showed this in a video, but I picked up one of these hand truck forklift carts. It's hydraulically, you can lift the forks. The forks are underneath the table there. The table lifts off, so you can either use the forks or the table. The forks will close down, so you can get width there. It 800 pounds and goes up 60 inches. Really a nice tool. Well, subsequent to that, this guy came up, and this is a Vestil is the manufacturer, and it is a lift cart. This one's 800 pounds also, and will go to about 54 inches. Real nice unit, and happy to have both in the shop. They both have come in very handy recently. And then up on top here, you can see there's a Kurt Weiss. It's one of the crossover units, and then sitting on top of it is a product from Norgren, and Norgren is making these units, the Adaptex, and they sent it to me to do a review on, and I've basically unboxed it, and we'll be working on that and doing a review on this vise. These fingers, quick little view, these fingers slide in and out, and I haven't installed the rest of the units on the end of the fingers, but the fingers are all adjustable, both on both sides of the vise. So we'll be seeing a video upcoming on that here shortly. Let me see what else I got for you. Well, if you followed my channel for some time, my brake shape and roll that's here used to sit on a different bench type cabinet. Basically, it was had some shelves in it, and it could roll. Well, I ended up needing more storage, of course, because I keep buying stuff, but this cabinet here was in my machine room for years, and it's a bank cabinet, and I'm not going to pull it out, but if you're familiar with the bank cabinets, they're really heavy duty. The drawer glides are great. So anyway, I put the brake shape and roll on top of that. That's about 400 pounds, and now with the handle that I added onto it, I can pull it in and out. Well, the other item, assuming you've watched my channel over the years, is my Diacro finger brake. Used to sit on a table that it came with when I purchased it that was made out of Unistrut. And it's always been on my want list to actually build a copy of the Diacro table that's made for the unit. And push comes to shove, I decided no. And so you can see my little paper here, it still says to bolt it down. But I went over to Home Depot and purchased this rolling cabinet here. And you can see it's basically stuffed. It's stuffed between the surface grinder and my Vidmar cabinet there. So, how do you roll it out of there? Well, that's where this guy comes in. Just wheel it in there, pick it up, roll it out. So, really happy with the added storage that I've gotten from that, and a good addition to the shop. Okay guys, well, if you made it this far, I appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed some of the yakety yak here of this and that. As I've said in the past, I got a lot at start, but hard at finish. So you might remember this. Haven't completed this block. I've actually got the material ready. I had the tooling out. Haven't got it. I went and switched gears. And then this guy that I was making for a tailstock adapter for a small chuck, where it could be used in multiple ways. That I did it in PLA to test it. Again, the parts are sitting there. I gotta finish that too. Lots of start and hard on finish. But hey, bottom line is I'm out here to enjoy myself, and that's the key to it. Last thing, I don't know that I talked about this in the past. You can see I've got LED lighting here in the machine room. I added those. The problem with the LED lighting, especially this, I mean the ceiling's only 7 foot here, not even 7 foot. It's very, very bright. And so what I did is on the back side, let's see, where are you? On the back side, which faces the wall, I did not paint over the clear lens. That way I got the most light out of the LEDs, because the LEDs were pointed at angles. And then what I did on the side that looks at is painted the plastic with this frosted glass paint, which immensely softened the LED. I still got the ton of light in here though, way more than I ever had. It took a couple days of walking in and getting used to it after I don't know how many years of walking in with the way the shop was lit before. But anyway, okay, out of here. Thanks again, and we'll catch you soon on the next video. Take care.